this is throughout centuries, right? Human beings were literally built and bred by God for combat. If you look at history textbooks, if you look at different shit, we had the natural ability for combat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, crazy. You're being a fucking schizo right now. What are you talking about? People go to jiu-jitsu schools, right? And what pisses me off is the coach makes it so much harder on the student, and they're convinced because of how hard the coach makes it for the student, how complicated they make jiu-jitsu in general, they have this thing in their head where it's like, oh my god, jiu-jitsu is so hard, and I'm a white belt and I don't know what I'm talking about. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna ask you 2 questions, right?
Okay.
If I push somebody and I'm facing them and they have feet shoulder width apart, which direction are they going?
Backwards, right?
Exactly. If I drag somebody forwards, right? If I grab somebody by their shirt and I pull them towards me as I step away, they're going to go flying forwards, correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. Now, I want you to take these concepts and apply them to grappling. What do I mean by this, right?
Mm.
If I'm in a scenario where somebody is in a staggered stance, do you think it's wise for me to attack their staggered stance? Yes or no?
I do not know.
Okay, let me simplify that answer for you. Remember when I asked you how which direction someone's going to go if I push them backwards with their feet shoulder width apart?
Right.
What's easier? If I push somebody? Actually, no. What's easier if I to make someone go backwards? If I push somebody and their feet is double shoulder width, or if their feet is staggered?
Well, if they're shoulder width, it should be easier, right?
Perfect. Now, in standing grappling, and I know this is a knee slice question, but hear me the fuck out. I promise I'm not going to do my autistic rambling for long.
No, I just listen to people ramble for 2 hours. I'm totally interested.
Right? I promise I'm going somewhere with this.
All right.
In standing grappling, if I want to send somebody backwards, if I want to get somebody or get their hips on the mat with my hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or with my legs, with standing grappling, and their stance is staggered, I'm gonna give you some ideas, or I'm gonna give you one idea. If I pull his back foot towards myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can turn his staggered stance into a feet shoulder width stance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now let's apply something to knee cuts here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, or do you go to school? Do you have like an office job, or do you
college?
Participate? Okay, so you sit down a lot, right?
Right.
Imagine, do you use computers a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, so you would agree with me that us as human beings use our hands every day to do everyday tasks.
Yeah.
We use our hands, correct?
Correct.
You agree that when we are sitting down, we strive to be in a fairly comfortable position. It helps us get a clear mind, right?
Right.
What if when someone's in seated open guard, what if I misalign their spine? What does that mean? So,
It just sounds like something.
Guard.
Oh, sorry.
No, carry on. I'm sorry.
I just laughed at myself because that sounds like a crazy lizard spell. I cast misaligned spell.
It does. I'm not gonna lie. I promise I'm going somewhere with this. If I'm in headquarters, right? I'm gonna use a pinch headlock and an underhook to compromise the alignment of their spine. Okay. Now all of a sudden they're not thinking about getting their knee shield back. They're thinking about, oh shit, my spine. You feel me?
Yep.
So, for example, okay, you can apply this to anything in jiu-jitsu. Top side control is usually a very fucking shitty position, right? And if I usually don't say someone sucks at jiu-jitsu because everyone can be good at jiu-jitsu. But if someone submits from a submission from bottom side control, they're not usually that good. Let's unanimously agree on this, okay? But I'm just going to use side control as a pin as an example. Side control is much easier if you are able to misalign their spine as well. Now, what do I mean by this? Imagine you are sleeping, right? I'm going to assume you lay down when you sleep, correct?
Indeed.
Okay, you lie down on your back, correct? Are you back, or are you side sleeper, or whatnot?
Back and side.
Okay. Imagine if one day some mysterious fucking ghost just aligns the upper part of your spine and you can't move it back.
Oh,
uncomfortable as fuck, right?
Right.
Now, imagine that, but instead of some fucking mysterious ghost, it's your Tori. It's the Tori in the situation, there's someone on top. And instead of you, it's the Uke, or someone on bottom. One way, now, I'm going to give you some ideas, but ultimately, jiu-jitsu, the way to learn jiu-jitsu is mainly figuring it out. And I don't mean to be careless about things. I'm going to explain why later. But I want to get to the point first and be direct. An idea that you can use is you can misalign a spine by manipulating him through his armpit or through his lapel, with your hands, with your arms, etc. Then again, it sounds like, look, it sounds absolutely nonsense. Like, it's like, I know in your head you're probably like, crazy fox, what the fuck are you talking about? But like, if I just had a chance to get an uke from my gym and show you, you could probably see what I mean. Right?
I'm sorry.
No, carry on.
I got open mat tomorrow, and if they let me record, I could post it.
I mean, that's good, but that's good as well. Like, I'd appreciate that as well, but I guess it's easier to articulate my thoughts exactly if I had an uke and I just recorded something and showed you, because it sounds like esoteric, redundant nonsense with like my words. It's like, oh, misaligned spine. What is this? Some fucking George Dillman instructional? But trust me when I say this. There's just some things that human beings just subconsciously know that for some reason people are unable to apply in jiu-jitsu. Think about it. Oh, well, if I move his arm this way, I can make him fall this way. Oh, what happened? Oh, I can just push him with his feet. If you stop thinking about names of techniques, if you stop thinking about this is the way to get here, your jiu-jitsu becomes exponentially better. And that is facts. Now, there's a reason why I say this, right? I used to train, for context, I'm Canadian. I trained at a gym just outside of Toronto, where I live. And they were very particular about technique for years. And they had a set way of getting to what they call single leg X. And that was their guard, that was their technique. And they had multiple setups to this technique, and they drilled it nonstop. And they were very adamant and very anal about drilling. Some shit happened with the coach and I. I'm not going to get into detail because that's a whole entirely different conversation for later. I had a mental health episode in around June. And a friend of mine named Glenn Paul invited me to his house, and I stayed with him for over a week. And we did jiu-jitsu together. We went to the lake. It was great. Glenn Paul was a great guy. But most importantly, he introduced me, and there's going to be some people in the server that are going to fucking scream at me, but I don't care because this works. Glenn introduced me to a method called the constraints-led approach. And at first I called him crazy. I told him, like, dude, like, what the fuck? Are you sitting here and telling me that you can just stop drilling and you can be good at jiu-jitsu? The answer to this is yes, you can. But the long answer to this is you're not just raw dogging it and going straight to rolling. Right? You make things simple. Right? For example, I'm gonna say the names. I'm gonna say the names of positions and the names of techniques just to make things easier to understand, because that seems to be the universal language here for jiu-jitsu. Spider web, or the armbar position, right? If I want to get good at arm bars, I don't just go up to someone and be like, hey man, I'm trying to practice my arm bars. Can you lay down on your back flat and let me armbar you? Or if I want to drill... No, that's not a good example. That's a shitty example. Scratch that. If I if I want to get better, I'm going to use your example. If I want to get better at knee slices, I'm not going to have somebody lay down, not resist, and I'm not just going to do 10,000 knee slices while they're not resisting and while they're static, right? That is a key recipe to disaster, right?
Right.
I'll explain why later. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide the whole sequence into key parts. The first part is getting them from a side laying position to a into a position where they are laying down on their back with their leg inside my two legs in headquarters. The second game is revolves around getting the attachments that I need for a knee slice. And the third game is getting the knee slice and being able to solidify chest to chest. If I divide these sequences into its key parts, that's the first step to your improvement, right? Now, if I also told you, forget what people say about you can't do it this way. You have to do this way and that way, and you can't go like this. I know you're a white belt, but I want you to forget jiu-jitsu for a bit and find anything that you find just fucking works and stick to it. And now I told you I'd get to why I told you I'd get to explaining why I think human beings learn best this way. Okay. Human beings, look, learning styles are bullshit. Okay. Human beings learn best in general by doing. That is a scientific fact. Okay. Human beings learn best by doing. That is fact. If I tell you to do something, right? If I tell you to do something and you do it, you only remember it for a short period of time. But if I give someone a process and say, find A, B, and C by doing X, Y, and Z, you just learn faster this way. And you learn faster this way because when you are problem solving, you learn faster. That's just fact. That is literally just fact. Okay. What else? Fuck. I'm not usually good with words, but I'm just trying my best to really explain this in the most concise way possible. Because in reality, like, this should not be secret esoteric knowledge. Everyone thinks it is, right? You know, student learns from the master. If someone wants to learn a skill, any skill, this should be accessible to fucking anybody, in my opinion.
What do you?
No, carry on. Sorry.
What do you have to say? Oh shoot! Give me 1 second.
No rush.
Okay, this is what I was going. What do you have to say to certain jiu-jitsu professors who say learning a certain move or a certain technique along these lines give like white belts or beginners a good foundation so that they're not learning like bad habits?
Die in a fire. Literally die in a fire. You're the reason why people are going backwards in this sport. And the reason why people are going backwards in this sport is because they are given false expectations as to what they think they should know. There's no basis. There's really absolutely no basis in it whatsoever. Have you ever seen a kids class before in jiu-jitsu?
Not really.
Okay. I was a kids coach in my old gym for 4 years. A lot of the times, I would see kids pinning their hands both or their hands, one with each hand, onto the mat. Like you'll when you see it, you'll know what I mean. But they'll pin their hands on the mat from mount, with one on each hand, and the coach will be like, "No, you're not supposed to pin. You're not supposed to hold mount this way. You're supposed to hold mount this way." I was so close to being like, "Well, but it works. What's the problem?" There's a lot of shit, not just foundations, but jiu-jitsu in general, with coaches that absolutely grind my fucking gears. And to tell you the goddamn truth, and this is, I'm not some jiu-jitsu god. Do not take this from me. This is fact in general. 85 to 90% of black belts in jiu-jitsu have no idea what they're talking about. And this is and what's sad is that this is within no fault of their own at all. I bet you $1 million, if most of these people had the correct knowledge in the right amount of time, the statistics would be completely different. But somewhere, someone along the way had to convince these motherfuckers that when you're brand spanking new in jiu-jitsu, you should be a master of the closed guard for good fundamentals and scissor sweep takedowns 30 times each side, and drill your collar chokes and your oompas, and you will get the highly esteemed rank of blue belt. That's such bullshit, in my opinion. You should not think about, and I'm just gonna dumb it all down because my autistic rambling, I call it autistic rambling as like an ironic thing. I don't mean to fucking, I don't know. I grew up as a B-tard. Please forgive me. Don't think of anything. Don't think of techniques. Think of concepts. Okay? Think of concepts and then forget what you know about jiu-jitsu. Does that make sense?
So, just to check if I'm understanding you, you don't, to put it in my own words, sort of, you don't want to like have these boundaries around certain rules, like this is how you do an arm bar, this is how you do triangles. You're saying perfect components of the moves and keep what works, if I'm understanding.
You're getting warmer. Definitely, you're getting warmer. What I mean is, instead of finding a set way to go into an arm, or to go to an arm bar, or to go to a triangle or whatnot, or to go to, right? Mm-hmm. Think of invariables of the sport of jiu-jitsu and build off of that by yourself. I want you to read. I'm gonna DM you. I want you to read this book.
No dick pics.
Oh no, trust me. We've only met for the first time. I will not do that.
Alright, just another question. How should I drill? Or should I even drill? How should I learn jiu-jitsu?
Don't drill. Static drilling is a waste of time.
I'll just say you are very fucking interesting. Someone's got to interview you, man. This guy, you got
who?
Crazy Fox. You are.
I'm honestly not interesting.
I disagree.
fuck? Hold on. Let me copy paste this link. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you, my friend. There's not much to me other than I'm a pretty slightly eccentric person. I've just been there and done that with jiu-jitsu and shit, and that's kind of led me to where I am. How the fuck do I get to your profile? What the fuck? Okay, hold on. Give me a second.
Yeah, I can just DM you. But you
Channels. Sauce. Wave. I want you to read this book.
Constraint sled approach.
It is a great book. You will learn a lot from this book. And trust me when I say that it will change the way you change the way you will think about not just jiu-jitsu, but learning a skill in general. I also want you to look into the ecological approach. What's crazy is that this method is only recently being used for people to learn and teach jiu-jitsu. And we're seeing people win ADCC trials, Nogi Worlds, Kasai, a whole bunch of shit. We're, for how recent it is, like we're seeing people.
Box.
Yeah, I saw your tagged message. I just had to DM Sauce. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm down with watching a few fights.
I got probably like 10 minutes till I'm back. These motherfuckers are taking 35 minutes to make 2 tacos.
American customer service is a fucking mystery to me. Anyways,
you're talking about an ecological approach?
Yes. It's a new method, but we're already seeing people win important shit because of that. Because of this method. If C1's not busy and he can unmute his mic, he will be so much better at explaining it than I am. But to make a long story short, people are thinking about static drilling way too much, to the point where it is almost hurting people's jiu-jitsu. And it did for me for a while. And I would not recommend having people go through that shit. Because I have people ask me all the time, like, ooh, I have this happen when I'm in half guard. What should I do? What should I do if he puts his hand here? Or fucking what else? Oh, when I go single leg X, I can't seem to do the double ankle sweep because he puts his foot here. What should I do? And it's like, human beings, if you are somewhat good at understanding how to compromise someone's balance, you've technically mastered 65 to 70% of jiu-jitsu. You just need to understand the different components of the human body and how you can manipulate it to compromise that in a way. I see the human body as a chair. And I see the different limbs of the human body as the chair's legs. If you remove one of its legs, it falls in the direction of the lost leg. Remove 2 of its legs. It depends. If you remove 2 of its back legs, it's going to fall backwards. If you remove 2 of its front legs, it's going to fall forwards. You know,
Mm.
it's going to, as long as you understand how to manipulate the human body, right? Another invariant of jiu-jitsu is if you want to strangle somebody. Let's say I'm gonna have to use names and techniques again. Committing cardinal sins I promised I wouldn't commit. If I want to finish a guillotine choke, if I want to choke anybody with my arms or my legs, I have to make the space surrounding their neck smaller. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I want to do a triangle choke, right? And I already have the position. His arm is, his head and arm is in between my legs, right?
Mhm.
I want to make that space surrounding his neck and his one arm small as I possibly can. And in doing so, I am suffocating him or strangling him. If I want to finish a rear naked choke, if my arms are wrapped around his neck as I figure four my arms, I am not just squeezing mindlessly. I am making that space I have created with my arms around his neck smaller. Right? Leg locks, arm locks. The key to leg locks and arm locks is separating the joint from the base joint. So what I mean by this is when I have an arm bar position or a leg lock position, I'm going to use arm bars as an example, right? If I'm in an arm bar, I cannot finish an arm bar if he's grabbing onto my hands. Seems easy enough. You probably already understand that he can't finish an arm bar if he's holding onto his own arm. The process of separating that grip is separating the joint from the base joint. That is an invariant of jiu-jitsu. Those are just some examples. People want to make jiu-jitsu much harder than it actually is. And it fucking does my head in, and it pisses me off. And I hate it. I hate it. So instead of, in order to finish the triangle choke, I need to finish by pulling his arm this way, and I need to lock my legs in this angle. No. You know the invariants. Follow the invariants. Whatever works, works. But it's not just whatever works. Since human beings learn a lot by problem solving, you will take this knowledge and it will stay with you forever. Do you drive?
Indeed, I do.
Have you ever had your car break down?
Yes.
In doing so, have you ever had to fix it yourself?
I mean, with some help, yes.
With some help, okay. Your car I take it your car has probably broke down in a somewhat of a public place before. It's been and because of this, it's been somewhat of an embarrassing experience for you, I assume. My car just broke down in the middle of the road, and I look like kind of an idiot in front of all these people, which is a human experience. It's a human experience, and I don't mean to knock you for it. I'm just using an example. You know what I mean? The beauty of the human psyche is that we take experiences like these and we turn it into valuable experiences we take with us for the rest of our lives. Ever since your car breaks down, I take it that you get less and less help when you fix it gradually. Correct?
I guess.
Now, human beings, I promise I'm going somewhere with this. Take the situation here, but instead of cars breaking down on the road, your jiu-jitsu breaks down on other people. And when I say break down, I mean we make technical mistakes on the mats. So instead of, my car broke down in front of all these other cars, now I look kind of embarrassing. It's, I should have gone this way instead of that way when I was in this position. Here's the difference, right? When our car breaks down, we learn problem solving by figuring out what's wrong and fixing it, correct?
Correct.
When we figure out a position or situation in jiu-jitsu, we figure it out the same way as we do when our cars break down on the road. Now, you're probably thinking, Crazy Fox, you're still kind of a schizo. Please elaborate. Allow me to explain what I mean. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about cars other than the mere basics, how they work, right?
Mm-hmm.
I use the analogy for cars breaking down as a way where people can kind of understand in the same wavelength, right? Because for a lot of people, driving a car is a very everyday thing. Let's be real. Driving is a very common tool people use all the time, every day. If you think about it, cars are an amazing analogy for the human body. And cars breaking down can be used in the same context as our jiu-jitsu breaking down. And instead of, I have a flat tire, we can say, I put my balance in the wrong direction. Because we are figuring things out, we learn eventually, I am not going to put my balance this way. I'm not going to compromise my balance this way. I'm going to stay centered in this scenario. Now, when
Taco Bell.
you got your Taco Bell,
no, these motherfuckers were closed. I just spent fucking $10 on goddamn Taco Bell. They said the mobile order was ready for pickup. I fucking pull into the drive-thru, and this bitch tells me they're closed.
That's fucking sucks. Ask contact the customer service. Ask for a refund
I threw a
because
rock at their window.
well, that's not cool. Don't do that.
Fuck them.
Anyway,
I find it funny how you're just talking about the philosophy of jiu-jitsu and you're going like deep into this topic and then he's just chucking rocks at Taco Bell.
You don't get a man obliteratedly high, and then deny him Taco Bell. If I go to jail for this, I don't even give a fuck.
God damn.
How the fuck are you gonna accept a mobile order and then like be fucking closed? It makes no sense. Makes no goddamn sense.
yeah, shit. Yeah, that must suck. Fuck, I'm sorry, dude.
I gotta walk back. I gotta like microwave.
Wait, so they just took your money and that's it?
Yes. They took my $10.79.
They didn't give you anything?
No, I pull up the window, I'm like, hey, I got a mobile order? They're like, hey, we're closed. And I
Oh,
was like,
shit.
what about my mobile order? She was like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm fucked. I'm out of $10. That's a whole manga volume right there.
Yeah. Crazy.
That sucks. Yeah, I'm very sorry. Where was I? Fuck.
Or I'm not.
Get back to the topic.
I'm not
back
that.
to the apartment, dude.
Pardon?
Dude, crazy. You have a lot of interesting ideas, and there's a lot of questions I gotta ask you, but I'm not that much of a night owl, so can we end this in like the next 10 minutes or so?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I don't mind. I honestly, what's it called? I could die if I fucking stay up for a bit longer. But yeah, 10 minutes is perfect. Where was I? Where was I? Fuck.
I forgot as well.
Yeah, if we use jujitsu, if we use cars as an analogy for the human body, if we forget what we know about jiu-jitsu and just, you can just unga bunga shit sometimes, it could fucking work. Like, look, I have a story. I was at a tournament and I did shitty. And I did shitty because there was one thing that my coach wanted me to do. Put his hands or hips on the mat from guard. And 9 years, or not 9 years, fucking more or less, I don't know. I suck at math. A while of jiu-jitsu. I did jiu-jitsu for a while, enough to I did a long time of having set ways to go X, Y, and Z. This is my current coach, by the way. I go with my coach now, and he tells me, all right, put my hands and hips on the mat. I probably did it like 2 times, right? He let me do it like 2 times. Then it was his turn, and he literally just, like, I was thinking he's gonna fucking get to single leg X or get to, elevate me with his leg and go, you know what I mean? I shit you not. There were times where he just grabbed my wrist and put it on the mat. And I was like, why the fuck didn't I think of that? And I'll tell you why. It's because it comes with experience. When you are a white belt, how long have you been training?
Around a year.
Around a year, okay. So you have around 1 year of, in order to get to this position, you need to go first step this way, and then second step, you need to go around here and use your hand to, right? Forget all of this right now. Be a blank slate. Okay? Be a blank slate and just think outside the box. You don't have to think of anything revelational. If I want to have an effect on somebody, think of the simplest way to do so that you can think of. And if it doesn't work, right? I don't want you to be entirely tunnel visioned on one effect, but I want you to have an intention and think of the most simplest way you can achieve your intention. Throw technique out the window. And when I say this, I don't mean like oonga boonga shit, like off the gate. I mean, think of get rid of, like, think of like simple shit, very, very simple shit, and completely eradicate the idea of techniques of jiu-jitsu out of your head. Completely. Now, I assume you probably may have like 5 minutes left or less. I want you to walk away from this conversation with something, at least. At least. If you can, when you can, please, I beg you, on my fucking hands and knees, read the book. Because it does a much better job than my retarded ass will ever do in the span of an hour. It explains everything that I try to explain within 1 to 2 pages. Everything.
I do not make a lot of promises, but I will promise you I will read that book.
Read this book. You don't have to cram it all in one day. I kind of don't want you to. Read it at your own pace, but I just need to make sure that you're reading it, because this could change your life forever. And I don't say that about a lot of shit.
Damn.
There's gonna be a lot of big science words. And if you're used to big science words, great. But if not, it should you should be able to copy paste it into like Oxford or whatnot. Should be fine.
Yeah. Alright. Is that it?
For now.
Dude,
I need to fuck. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Someone needs to fucking interview you, man. Yeah, someone needs to interview you. I need to know more about like how you get these ideas. My gosh.
I'm literally the jiu-jitsu equivalent of I've been around. I'm nothing really special.
But isn't that like everyone, like Albert Einstein, Isaac Newton, they've just done this for a while and they figure shit out?
Honestly, okay, I have a saying, and it's a ridiculous saying on paper, but you'll understand what I mean. There's a controversial Russian influencer. His name is Arsen Makaryan. And he's pretty much like the Russian Andrew Tate, right? And along with his fucking claims of he was in a podcast, I believe. And he does the usual shtick, talking about women and alpha male, sigma male, this and this and that. And then he gets into the martial arts that he knows. And he says, and someone who can look at someone who can what's it called? An articulate mind can look at a cow shitting and still analyze it to an extent and make something out of it. Let alone get into its head and understand what it's thinking and understand what it's doing.
I'm going to be completely honest. I was not following you for the cow.
Like, and my Russian is fucking horrible, so I understand. What this means is, in order to ascend properly, people think it's some outlandish fucking process. People think it's some sort of people think that you're in a higher state of being, when in reality it's just a mentality of how people look at things. In order to have in order to have a mind or the mindset to articulate things and learn things properly, you can take mundane shit off of anything. You can take shit off of anything, take it apart, put it back together, all that shit. If you play with Legos as a kid, right, you'll understand, because playing with Legos teaches you when you break something, right? So when you break like you build something out of Legos and you break it, it teaches you, when you put it back together, it teaches you how to problem solve. You can articulate something off of that. Oh, well, I can't fit it this way because it doesn't fit that way, so I'm going to do this way. Joey knows. He plays with Legos a fuck ton, right? He can understand.
I love Legos.
Yeah, when you break something on accident, right? Like you find the way to put shit back together. It's like, okay, well, I can't put a 2x2 here because a 2x2 fucking a 2x2 will not suffice here. I have to have a 3x3 instead, or a 4x4, or a fucking PX. I don't know these fucking newer Lego pieces. I haven't touched a Lego brick in like 10 years.
It changed, to be honest. They're still like exactly what I remember from being a kid.
But you know what I mean, correct? Like if you break something, if you have decent enough problem solving skills, you eventually learn how to fix them over time by yourself.
Right.
Right? So it's just an analogy. Like I said, I don't remember the exact words with the shitting cow analogy. I don't remember the exact words in English that Arsene really said. And by the way, Arsene is not really a fucking great person to base your entire life off of. I just thought that analogy in itself was fairly interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it, really.
You watch MMA fights now?
Sure.